If you clicked on this video, it means you are ready to hear how creating an alter ego could absolutely transform your life and cultivate the character that you always wanted to become without resistance. Now, this is going to be an interesting video to articulate, so bear with me. I'll start by sharing a personal story to give you guys context on my own personal situation, and then I'll give some examples that I've noticed in general society that you may recognize. So I'll start off by saying when I was 20 years old, I decided to start a business. And at 20 years old, I didn't have any real confidence or life experiences to back up the person I was trying to become. It essentially clashed with my current identity because I just didn't have the proof. So how could you be confident? How could you be charismatic? How can you be witty when you're going up against these older individuals that have the life experience, that have the assets, and you're asking them for a shot? It's a very tough thing to do. So especially when you don't have the confidence or the life experience or just the experience in your certain field. So what could you do to create a character that cultivates those traits or virtues that you would like to integrate into your character, but unfortunately you can't because they clash with your current traits? So it's only normal as a 20-year-old. You just don't have the life experience. You don't have the reps in the game yet. And that's completely normal. But a trick that I used is I actually used a character from a show that I watched, and I was really called to integrate a lot of the traits that that character had into this alter ego, okay? So the reason why this works so well is because when you form an alter ego, it essentially creates another version of you, okay? And when I say you, it's sort of detached from your current identity. So if I could use myself as an example, at 20 years old, I just didn't have any skin in the game of life. I never sold a property in my life. And here I was looking to make a name for myself in a field where I stood no chance. So how could I go about this starting from zero? Well, in a certain way, you have to be a well-spoken person. You have to show up with an air of maturity and confidence in what you're doing. And then it's frame. Okay, so what I realized, and the character that I chose was Harvey Specter. So this was, for anyone who's familiar with the show Suits, Harvey Specter was a lawyer, very witty, very charming, very charismatic, very confident, pretty much bigger than life character, very famous for saying he was the best closer in all of New York. So I kind of took that cockiness, arrogance, and turned it into my own personal style that essentially created a side of me that was reserved for my business self. Now, this is pretty cool because you could also see this happening in real life where there are certain people in, let's say, show business that have used this framework. So the first name that comes to mind for me is Kobe Bryant. He used Black Mamba, and he's openly spoken about this. So if you want to look this up, he speaks about how when he would be on the court, Black Mamba was kind of like shutting off the noise, anything happening on the outside world. He was like cold-blooded. Whereas Kobe Bryant like got nervous, So it's essentially using this alter ego to take the parts of your actual self that you identify with and disregarding them to perform a certain task or go down a certain path. Okay, so I could also use Lady Gaga as an example, Madonna. They're using like stage names to create this like higher persona. Someone you may know, Mr. Beast as well. They don't use their actual names. They actually create a totally different persona to go about whatever venture they're going on. It could be a business, it could be in sports. And all it is to take you away from your identity, what you believe you are to be. The alter ego is just there to counteract that and make you kind of proceed with the character that you're looking to fill in the gap with, okay? So if you're a shy person, your alter ego would be someone who's very outgoing, who is not shy to go up to a random person and spark up a conversation. So let's go back to me here. I'm 21 and I integrate Harvey Specter into my character. And I peg myself as the Harvey Specter of real estate, and I create a personal brand around real estate. So my name was associated to real estate because that was part of the brand. And that's how I actually ended up being successful. Making a long story short, because then you start off and slowly you're giving yourself the social proof to just let momentum take over. So obviously once you get, let's say, the first 10 reps under your belt, now you have a base. And then you actually just become the character. It just kind of like flows into it. So what's cool about this is what I used to pretty much offset who I thought I was in the moment. So for it was the lack of confidence or the lack of charisma, but that was always inside of me. It just clashed with my current identity. So now this comes into the next part. Once you create this alter ego for yourself, and now you're kind of giving yourself the proof that, oh, look, this exists inside of me, but it doesn't fit with my actual character, okay? So but the challenge is a lot of people end up attaching too much to their alter ego because it's usually the fun side of you. It's usually all the things that were repressed. So a lot of people end up just letting that take over their actual character, and then they disassociate completely to the person they were. Now the trick here, okay, is understanding that all this was an illusion in the first place. What you want to do is you actually want to integrate that alter ego into yourself, because all it is, it gave you the proof that you could be whatever you were trying to be. So let's say for myself, my 21-year-old self was looking for confidence. He was looking for charisma or wit or that drive to become successful. And all the alter ego was a tool. But then eventually I showed myself that I could do it. Okay, it doesn't matter how. How I actually gained the confidence was by doing it. It was actually showing up, selling a couple of houses, going through my own challenges, overcoming them. And then with time, I just created certainty. And then through just doing it over and over, I became good at what I did. And then through my actual personal self, having empathy, having compassion, having your heart in the right place, not focusing on, just making money for yourself, but also actually providing value for someone else. Those things get integrated into the process. And then you realize, oh my God, this was all me all along. Once the proof is created, okay, integrate those two characters together, because at that point you created enough space in yourself to have both of them put together. So that's what I would recommend for anyone who is looking to start a business or expand their character. And it is a beautiful way to evolve and find a more complete version of oneself. So this is part of the route to self-mastery. And I love that. And this is how you do it.
Life is this. I like this.